Well, welcome to our new channel. This is the Manti Greenhouse. I've been kind of excited for a few months now to share with my family and friends, and hopefully some new friends, what we've been up to the last few months. In July, we finished our greenhouse. It is a unique design that we have taken some ideas off of, I'd say, 3 main greenhouses that we really liked, but added some ideas of our own. There wasn't a design out there that I was comfortable with my goals to build, because I really wanted something that could perform off-grid. And this greenhouse is the result of that. So years of dreaming and scheming and planning, and this is what we came up with. This design is about 17 feet wide and 100 feet long. And starting, July 1st is when we planted the very first plant. And it is now January 6th. And the greenhouse has survived both winter and summer. And it's survived remarkably well. As you come in, you've got some spaghetti squash to welcome you, as well as a thornless blackberry. And right now you're seeing a lot of our squash has basically run its course. If you were to see this a few months ago, you would have seen a lot more green, and I'll show you pictures of that. But I don't know how to edit, so this is what you're gonna get. Got a lemon tree that's actually doing fantastic. When we bought it, it was from Tractor Supply, so just a little guy. And in just a few months, it's done really well. When the summer months comes out, I think that'll explode, and I think we'll get lemons this year on it. So my wife is definitely a lot more healthy of an eater than I am, and so this is a perfect place if you're conscious of your diet, because pretty much anything fresh that you would go buy at your local grocery store is here in the greenhouse. I'm definitely a hypocrite because this kind of stuff doesn't excite me as much as the middle of the greenhouse. We'll come back and talk about what we've got here, but I'm gonna bypass a discussion on celery and go straight to the tropic area of the greenhouse. This is in the middle of our greenhouse, where we've got our banana trees. And we've got several varieties, and they have grown fantastically. So the largest is it's called the Grand Nain banana tree. And it has done fantastic. When we bought it, it was about 2.5 feet tall. We got it online. Surprised it lived through the shipping. And it's just exploded. You know, most gardeners feel really good about themselves when they grow squash, because anyone can grow squash, especially zucchini, and it grows really fast. Well, banana trees are way more rewarding than that. Maybe it's just because we don't have tropics here in Utah, but in the summertime, the leaves are about 5 foot. It's hard to tell with my camera phone, but those are 5 feet long. In the summertime, we were growing about 4.5 feet every single week. I mean, just tremendous growth. And then the bottom leaves would die off. I think the main point here is that the greenhouse can sustain such growth. As we further on in the greenhouse, we've got just kind of more of the same. We have a tangelo. Back there was a lemon, lime, pomegranate, avocado, as well as the healthy stuff. Kale and lettuce, peas, tomatoes, corn. My goal was to have Christmas corn. And I think we are just a couple weeks away from getting corn on the cob. In a normal situation, we wouldn't be growing corn in pricey real estate like this, but it's just something we wanted to do. So there you go. We're growing corn in the middle of winter. Kind of fun, if it is a little pointless. Okay, and this is the end of the greenhouse. We got a nice passion fruit. which actually is just starting to blossom. So we've had a few blossoms, but we don't have fruit yet. I think the fruit is going to get really exciting once we get into March and April as we have warmer temperatures. So a little bit more about the greenhouse, because this is just an introduction. This is an artichoke. Love artichokes, never seen one growing, so I'll keep an eye on what that is going to do. Looks like a big fat weed to me, but it's not. Some cabbage, broccoli. So the greenhouse temperatures. So outside the greenhouse right now, it is 40 degrees. Inside, we're at about 73 degrees. You probably couldn't tell when I started the video, but outside it has been overcast all day. So because of that, we have the greenhouse all shut up. And if the sun was out, even with it being, we've had it 20 degrees outside and 85 degrees inside. When the sun comes out, this place will warm up quickly. And that's part of the design, which we'll get into in another time, how we are truly working the angles with Wallapini style design, and why that's a fantastic thing to do, because most greenhouses that I've seen have two problems. They're too hot and they've got tons of aphids. We have some ideas on both of those that, again, we'll get into a different, maybe a different video if you're interested, on how we keep this cool, because I saw that as a bigger challenge than keeping it warm. But we've got obviously tons of ideas on what we've done to keep it warm, which we will have to get in another video. So just an introduction, why would we build this? We had an opportunity to sell an investment property that we loved in Nauvoo, Illinois. It was just the right time with the world kind of losing its mind and mandates and just a bunch of stupid stuff we've all been through a couple of years. So I'm like, if we're going to sell this, then we're going to do something fun. And this is it. We kind of built exactly and deliberately what we wanted to build. So not necessarily because the sky's falling. Well, actually, even though it is, today the FFA just, or is it FAA, excuse me, just announced they grounded all these flights in the morning because of a computer glitch. So not since 9/11 have we had something so dramatic. But you know, we live in a dicey world where our generation has just grown up and expected other people to feed us. And that's fine unless you have trust issues. You know, as of today, January, I think I might have said the wrong date earlier, but January 9th of 2023, egg prices are, I think, $6 or $7 a dozen. The reason I don't know is we have chickens. Just a year and a half ago, we couldn't even sell our chicken eggs for, $2.50 a dozen. But now there's scarcity and the prices are going crazy. And it just doesn't look like that's going to get any better. So one of the major reasons that we built this greenhouse is so that we could put a little bit of that into our control. It's pretty fun. On my lunch hour from work, I can come home and you know, the last 2 days I just came and picked my own tomato and made BLTs, not our own bacon yet, but with our own tomato, our own lettuce. I mean, we're growing tons of lettuce. If you were a vegetarian, of which I am not, even close, you could feed your family. We've got a large family. You could feed your family easily if you were into green, healthy living. My wife is, I'm not. I'm trying to get there. But this place has performed extremely well. And for me as a provider, for my family, I love that. I'll grow squash all day long, even though I hate squash, just because I want to be able to provide that for my family. And I'll eat it, of course, if I'm hungry. But, you know, not to be all churchy, but we're supposed to live by the sweat of our brow. Well, we don't do that anymore. Americans don't know what hard labor is. And because of that, we're really the worst set up generation ever, going into all these crises with governments that are absolutely incompetent. And a people that's lazy, doesn't know what a callus is, doesn't know how to grow their own food, doesn't know how to survive in any means. So yeah, the greenhouse was a response to that, but a huge part of this is clearly hobby. You know, growing bananas again in the space that it would require in a kind of an expensive greenhouse, probably not the best use of your money. But if I'm going to inspire anybody to take action and bring some of the power of their food into their own hands, I'm not going to do it with celery. I'm going to have to be a little bit more flashy. So I do hope this inspires you, not necessarily to build this greenhouse. Maybe it's going to inspire you to go build a hoop house or a grow box or even just start a garden. If this is discouraging, then I would just say, turn it off, you know. But hopefully this can be inspirational that you can do stuff within your power, and you should. So we've got passion fruit, we've got dragon fruit that's done extremely well. Kind of fun. Who had any idea that dragon fruit was a cactus? I didn't. You'll see in the greenhouse, a lot of the beds are empty, and that's because we've harvested. So we've already went through harvested celery, and we've got a lot of things growing from seed. So I'm a very impatient person, but the greenhouse is large enough that we can have active celery growing in different pockets of the greenhouse, and then we can have another pocket where we're growing it from seed. So we're experimenting with seed saving, collecting, growing from seed, things that we can't do in our normal hostile environment, right? Sorry, I've already showed you the pepper. So we've been on several rounds of carrots already. We've already harvested. We have, you know, these are getting closer to where we can harvest. And then we've got a whole bed over there grown. We just pulled up a whole bunch of red beets. And normally I don't think we'll grow too many red beets. We're going to do them in little patches where we have consistent amount of vegetables that we're eating on a regular basis, instead of like we had before. This whole area was filled with beets, and then we pulled them all, and then we had to can them, and that's fine. But part of the reason of a greenhouse is that you can have consistency in your food, and maybe cut out a little bit of the work with canning, and surely cut out a lot of the energy in storing, so you can eat fresh, right? The blueberries have done decently, depending on where it's at. The only thing that's really lost its leaves in the greenhouse are the pomegranates. And we have heard of other people who've had greenhouses, and they've said the same thing, that we don't think it's dead. That's a pomegranate bush. We think it will come back and actually give us pomegranates. So we're going to keep an eye on that. As of now, I don't know. So in the summertime, our high temperatures was pretty close to 100, but we have a ton of ventilation. I'm excited to tell you about that ventilation system that keeps this thing cool. So even the highs in the hundreds with adequate ventilation, the plants were loving it. Every plant, the typical variety of plants that we do around here in Utah loved it. And the tropics just thrived. They absolutely were killing it. And then in the winter, I'd say that things have definitely slowed in growth. But right now, we can come out here and eat, I mean, I'm going to miss something, but lettuce, tomatoes, cherry tomatoes, green beans, peas. We got strawberries that are on, carrots, onions, cabbage, broccoli coming out of our ears, kale, if anyone actually eats that, besides my wife. Peppers, green peppers, bell peppers, jalapeno peppers, Anaheim peppers. I keep on showing you the red one because it's flashy, but I'm missing all these others. We keep eating Anaheim peppers, didn't realize that we liked them so much, but they're here, so we eat them. I think that's kind of it that we can come out and get on any given day, but there's tons of it in here. And in the summer, we are expecting a lot of other things that we haven't enjoyed yet to come on. Back here, we've got a chayote squash. Not this one, that one. It's a tropical squash. You can find it in a lot of your Mexican markets and whatnot, but that thing will grow 40 feet all across the back of the greenhouse and just give consistent food and calorie, options for our diet, which is going to be fun. And plus, I think they're delicious. So the star fruit, the dragon fruit, the passion fruit, all of that is going to be what we're going to experience this next year. We haven't got our first lemon or limes, but the trees are actually doing really good. I wish I would have bought bigger trees just for instant results and I could report back to you, but whatever. This is the one we got, but it's grown. So that would be about 18 inches since July to January. So I still think that's pretty good. But again, I'm an impatient dude. So our avocado trees are also doing fantastic. We bought a smaller one. They were kind of expensive. I'd say it was 18 inches to here when we bought it, came through the mail, and it's grown another 18 inches. So again, I say that's success. The avocado growth is adequate, and I think that by the end of the year, having a full summer, I think we'll be eating avocados out of this greenhouse. So if we don't, I will be disappointed, but we'll see. The cranberry bush actually has lost its leaves, but it's budding, so it's starting to come back in. So there's that. Yeah, that's another thing too, is we had Armenian cucumbers. And in the summer, we used that as part of our shade design, and it covered this whole area. And we were eating hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of them. And then once it fruited or gave its vegetables, then it was pretty much done. So it's something that does have to be replanted, unlike a tomato, which can live for years. So we got adequate food from it and just took it out. So the greenhouse, for us, looks pretty ugly, but it's still impressive. But again, in another video, I'll show you what this thing looked like in the summer, because it was absolutely stunning. All right, I've rambled too much. If you like the video and want to subscribe, do so. If there's anybody out there that's interested besides my mama, then we'll make more videos. Anyway, if you have questions too, I guess leave it in the comments. It might take me a few weeks to figure out how to read and respond.